Hey YouTube family, it's me Shantel, the creator of Shantellsdb, and I'm here with my fiance Marcus, and we are back with another episode of the Rules of Engagement series where we take you guys on the journey that we are going through our engagement process leading up into our marriage. And if you guys aren't already following me on social media, I need you guys to do that right now at Shantellsdb on Facebook and on Instagram. And you can catch up with us there. But we have reached 6 months of engagement. And so just like the mission of this whole series was to just show you guys some things that we have learned individually and also things that we are learning together. And so this video is just to kind of give you guys an overview of some of the lessons that we are learning in our engagement process.
Amen.
And so Marcus is going to get this ball rolling.
Yeah.
He's just going to give y'all a general sense of how he is feeling about being engaged for 6 months.
Well, I would say I'm feeling great. These past 6 months has been life-changing. We've learned a lot about each other, especially through our premarital classes, and now that we're taking it with Brother Mike, shout out to you. Thank you so much for your time. We've learned a lot about each other. We've also been transparent. We've found each other being transparent a little bit more because we have an understanding that once we get married, that's when the ball's going to roll a little bit faster. So we have to make sure that we're saying what we say and that we mean it. So we're loving this process. I think, even through school, we're having a good time as far as even though we're like distance, we're still having a good time as far as with that. So, amen to that. But I think another thing, just to let y'all know is that to be honest, to be transparent, but also to be more loving and caring, and making sure that we're good, checking on each other 24/7. And I do mean 24/7. Shantell's bugging me, but I'll just be like, no, I'm just saying how it is. You be texting me during when I teach, but then I'm just playing. She don't be doing that, y'all. Look, she's have to really clown me. But yeah, we always stay connected. Even though we're miles apart, we always make sure that we are good and that we continue to pray for each other whenever needed. And, fast at the times that we do need so. So we're always planners. We always stay one step ahead, and then I also would say that we're very active in our communities too as well. So that keeps us going, that passion, always, keeping it on fire, So this was like, the same time when we were at WKU together, we still were doing our thing, still were working, still were kind of, busy with our schedules, but we always made sure we had time for each other. So seriously, it has been a challenge, but it has been fun growing with you on that challenge. So I would say that we're, making sure we have more time with each other.
Yeah, just to add to Marcus's point, it's been a good 6 months, but like he said, one of the, I think, major hurdles for us so far is just learning how to navigate being connected and making sure that we do that in the best way possible, because we do understand that when we're married, we're going to be in the house 24/7, and it's not like you can go 3 hours like without talking to me when we're in the house together. It's not probably going to be conducive to a healthy marriage. And so part of that navigating has to do with our schooling, because we're both looking to get our master's, and we'll both be graduating in May of 2019. And so I'll just kind of start the ball, and I'll let Marcus finish up on how it is navigating. Yeah. So we've been engaged for 6 months, but we've been in school like forever.
And a day.
And a day, it seems like. And for me, in my graduate program, this is something totally different than what I did in undergrad. And so for me, it is very intense. This is going on the 4th week of school, and y'all, I'll just be tired all the time. But kind of like he tried to shade a little bit. I do always try to make sure that I connect with Marcus. But like he said, Marcus is graduate teaching, and so he has a class that he teaches on top of his coursework and other things that he has to do, and as well as me, like being involved in youth ministry, and now I'm in the graduate teaching academy at the University of Louisville, which is preparing me to teach. We just kind of have to weave come to the conclusion that we need to send each other our schedules,
Right.
so we know, like, make sure I'm not calling him when he's doing something important and I'm in the other way around.
Right.
And so that has really helped, because it's just really important to, like, make sure that we're being respectful of each other's time, because even though we're about to get married, at the same time, like, we got to understand that we're still single until married, and we want to be able to, like, give that a little room for him to do his responsibilities and for me to do my responsibilities. And honestly, for me, as the woman, like, it was hard at first, because I'm just like, we had this little span, maybe for 2 weeks, where I felt like Marcus and I didn't connect. And it was before the semester started. And he was at Vanderbilt. He was finishing up that last week. And so he was going back and forth from Nashville to his house. And I know that was tiring, but at the same time, I'm just like, well, I understand, but hello, like, we need to connect. Like, we can't not be connecting. And so, I mean, after we talked about it, like, it only took us a day to, like, talk about it. Actually, you hear me and I hear you, that basically Marcus was like, well, at first Marcus was like, don't call me after 8, but he never told me that before. And so for me, I'm just like,
she almost killed me, y'all.
Okay. But then after we talk, it's just like, okay, well, I won't call him after 8, because now I know this is a time I need to respect. But before 8, you need to make sure that you connect with me in some way. And so now I feel like we do a great job of making sure we connect. And, like, even days where, and I feel like sometimes connected for me, it's like, have a good text conversation, or call me, send me a voice memo, FaceTime, or whatever. We have really done a wonderful job of doing that. And so with schooling, it can be really hard, but it is what you make it. You have to have a lot of communication, and I think sharing your schedule is really important, especially if you're busy and you're doing graduate work. You're always going to be busy, even if you don't have anything extra to do. And so, I think that's how we're navigating that. You have anything to add?
Yeah, just to add into that, we always are going to have something to do. I mean, we're very proactive in whatever we're doing, whether it's school, whether it's church, whether it's some type of community organization. We're mindful of what time was given to those, and then also what time needs to be given to us to pour into each other, because we never knew what we wanted, to, talk about, unless we actually said, hey, I need to actually talk to you about this. So that's what I meant by being transparent, but because it's not going to always look pretty, especially, for instance, when we were talking about the Vanderbilt situation. I was there for the summer, in and out. It was what I call a good risk. And so with that being said, it has helped me to grow a little bit more, but I had to also understand that I still needed to connect with Shantel, because if not, that was just out of my selfishness and my desires, because I knew that I had a lot of, on my plate there, but I also knew I had a responsibility with Shantel as well, my fiance, because once we get married, nothing's going to get much easier, and Shantel brought up a great point when she was like, when I stated, like, well, I'm just busy right now. It's just going to be for this little bit. And then I promise I'm going to get right back with you on some, more things and create more time. But, Chantel brought up a great point. There's always going to be some busy moments, but you just always have to make that time. You make time for what you want. So I always knew that to be true. So we definitely had to talk it out. We had to hash it out. We had to have those good arguments. We don't see arguments in a negative light. We see them as a conversation piece to make sure that we understand each other to the fullest, because it's a horrible feeling to actually be misunderstood, and to go to sleep mad and to be like, oh, well, I think this is what he meant, but I don't know if he meant that. So now it's running all in my mind. Now my emotions are stirred. Now, these spiritual warfare is going on, confusion, madness, angry about something that you just didn't understand. And so one thing we do is hash it out right then and there. We make sure that we understand each other. No matter how mad we get, we have an understanding about that. This is what is going on, and this is how we're gonna, deal with it in the name of Jesus, and then we'll pray on it. No. But then we'll pray on it, and then we'll go ahead, go to the next day, and then everything will be good. So I think that's one of those things that we're very evolved in, because honestly, when those things come up, those conversations come up, we take those seriously.
Right. So Marcus has talked a lot about transparency, and so I'm gonna ask you this question: in these past 6 months, have you ever heard me cry or see me cry?
Yes.
How did that make you feel?
Um, Honestly, I didn't think she would ever. She's just a woman of steel. Like, she is very strong. Like, honestly, you know, I never thought that was possible for Chantel until I actually seen that. But when she does, it's not out of like being scared or anything. It's just like she wants the best, you know, for not only for herself but for the people around her too. It's because she cares and that she wants those initiatives to continue to spring forth. Those were the, you know, tears of a warrior, I believe. So I don't just see those tears as if she was weak or anything like that. I see those tears as if she's very passionate about something and that she wants to go along and go forth with it in full speed ahead.
That's interesting. I have been scared in a sense when I've cried. Like Marcus says, anybody who knows me know I'm the type of person to be like, "What y'all crying for? Like, just let's just go." But aside from this relationship, I just feel like my relationship with Christ, like, ever since I got saved, I say it all the time. God has made me a crybaby because I never like. It's just like, yeah, nah. You don't want to be my friend. We broke up. Nah. Okay, whatever.
True
But
story.
in the sense of my relationship with God, I feel like I cry all the time. And I feel like I've cried so much with Marcus. And at first, it was just like, girl, why would you do that? Like, you could have saved that for another day. But I mean, it just is what it is. Like, we've had some, a couple of, well, maybe like one, like, argument ish, whatever, that like led me to cry. And
Yeah.
yeah, so as far as me, it's like the vulnerability piece in these 6 months is that, like, the more we get to know each other, it's like the more open that you have to be.
Right.
And I did another video, which I will leave a link for, and it talks about, I think me and Marcus were just starting a date, and it is called Transparency. And it was talking about my trust issues and just how God has spoke to me about how do you navigate having trust issues. And he was like, trust me and not man. And so that means you do have to be vulnerable when you go into any type of relationship with
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
Anything is when you have to be vulnerable with Christ, period.
Yeah.
Because you have to always pick up your cross, which means you have to die to yourself daily. And so that means you're sacrificing self for him. And so that means you have to be vulnerable. Like, you put all of yourself into this person, and you're just God's, you put all yourself into God.
Yes.
And you have to trust that he is in control.
Yes.
And
That's right.
he has the best plan for you. And it's kind of the same because God uses marriage as an illustration.
Amen.
And so I don't feel out of line relating it to that, because at the end of the day, you're going to be he's going to be putting all into me. Will she hold me up? Will she back me up? Will she support the vision? Will she support the dream? Even if I fail, will she be like, see, that's why I ain't about to listen to you no more, whatever. Or will she be like, okay, well, maybe you could do that better, but it's okay, like, we still here, whatever.
Amen.
And vice versa. And so vulnerability is like major, and it really is a must. And so it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you cry, but it definitely does mean that you have to be willing to give yourself for the greater good. And within the 6 months, Marcus and I have definitely done that. I've told him things about my past that I've never told anybody, really. And just things that he's going to have to know about me anyway in order to understand me. And I think in a lot of relationships, even outside of people who are engaged, don't really understand that if you don't tell people about yourself, the real you, you're not really giving them an opportunity to make a proper decision. Because if I acted a certain way, when we first got together, and then 6 months down the road after engagement, you're like, girl, what? Who is this? Because, right. And so it's just like, I wouldn't have given him the opportunity to choose to say, I want to still get to know her, or nah, this girl's nuts, or we just don't mix.
It's kind of like how can I best meet your needs almost? You know, like if you don't tell me like a little bit more about what hurts you, what makes you cry, like what makes you laugh, what you like to do, like when you want to put forth a project or anything like that. How can I best fit your needs, and how can you best fit my needs, kind of in a sense. So I think that's very important. But yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I think it's just like catering to each other. We have to make sure that we are good at it at all costs. You know what I'm saying? So we always have each other's back, no matter what. Yeah. And then, but and so and that's the thing. Like, if people want to know something about Chantel, or someone wants to know about me, we both have that spiritual discernment to say, okay, so how can I best, put their information out there? Because we were transparent before, saying like, if someone wants to ask you something, then you would say, well, I got to ask Marcus first, and then that way we can both communicate on that. And then if someone wants to know a little bit about you, and I'm like, well, let me ask Chantel first. I think that's a part of the transparency that we're seeing a lot with us, because we have many stories about how people want to know something, but at the same time, it's valuable information that we both need to say, okay, this is what they can get access to. And so that's one of those transparency pieces that we have with each other, because in order for us to be even more transparent with each other, we have to be transparent with people from outside of us, so I think that will testify to itself. We want to make sure that we allow people know that, well, we got to make sure we got to be good first in order for them to get the information.
You good?
I'm good. You good?
I'm good.
Okay. All right.
I was going to say that anyway.
I'm weak.
But lastly, I think it's important to talk about, like, where are we as far as family goes. I'm just going to go. Marcus really be mad that his mama, like, really love me. And, like, he's so territorial, y'all. Like,
oh, Lord,
he just be like, why you at my mama's house? Because I will go over there when, he's not here. And,
I don't know why she's doing that.
Check up on him and his mom and his brother and his sister. Good. And they need to see me. And so, with that being said, I feel like I have a really good relationship with his mom and his other siblings and stuff like that. His just other family members that I've met, that I might not see frequently, but that I've met. Like, I feel comfortable around them. Yeah. I don't feel like I have to, like, not be myself. And I'm grateful for that. And I feel like the next 6 months I'll continue to get to know them better. And so for me, for that, I'm grateful because his mama's a God-fearing mama. Mm-hmm. And so she raised a God-fearing household. And so that's also good. You don't always get that. Like, I know some people who are the first generation of, like, Christian in their family. So their parents may not be saved. And so there might be certain things that their parents just don't get with. They might not mesh well because of their beliefs. But I'm grateful to say that God has blessed me to have another set of family who knows the Lord. Amen. And so for that, we good.
Right. And I think one thing Shantel is trying to tell you all is that the first ministry is actually with the family. So just being beside them, loving them, caring for them, giving some type of guidance or counseling from each other, it reciprocates, and so I think that's just the love that's shared forth with my mom and Shantel, and it's just the same thing with Miss Phyllis and I. We both,
that's
talk.
My mama.
That's my mama too, so I don't want to hear nothing about that. But anyway.
I was just saying.
What I'm saying, it's my turn. And so, shout out to Mama Phyllis. I love you. But, like, we make sure that we go out, we talk, and we make sure we have some type of fellowship, and just, communicate with one another about what's all going on. They feel loved, we feel loved, and I think that's very important because, at the end of the day, family's going to be there. And hopefully, as we, continue along, that, they'll be at the wedding, then we'll continue to fellowship and break bread.
So you think my mom likes you?
I think she loves me. I think she loves me even more than you now. So I think,
we don't want to get into any heresy.
I'm a noob now. You should already know that. What?
See,
what?
We about
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying.